Senator Gerba. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Senators, October 7th, 2023 will be remembered as a day of horror in our hearts. Hamas launched an attack of unprecedented violence against Israeli civilians, killing around 1,200 people, mostly women, children, and the elderly. Hamas also took 251 hostages. I, too, join in the calls for the immediate release of the hostages still imprisoned. Acknowledging the seriousness of October 7th, dear colleagues, is a reminder that no suffering justifies the suffering of other people. Justice and peace demand that every human life be treated with the same dignity, a dignity that is being sorely tested today in Gaza. It is therefore with a heavy heart that I rise today to support the motion introduced by Senator Wu, a very courageous motion. I believe that his initiative preserves the honor of this chamber and of our country. As parliamentarians, it is rare that we are called upon to vote on such a serious issue. And yet, this motion is commensurate with the unspeakable suffering of the people of Gaza. For the first time in history, a fully informed and aware international community is witnessing in real time the systematic destruction of infrastructure and the daily massacre of civilians from all walks of life. Allow me to tell you about a man whose convictions continue to enlighten us, even today, the late Stefan Hessel, a visionary humanist, and seasoned diplomat. Hessel was born into a Jewish family in Berlin in 1917. Naturalized as a French citizen, he joined the resistance and followed General de Gaulle to London to fight against the Nazi occupation. In 1944, he was arrested and tortured by the Gestapo before being deported to Buchenwald concentration camp, from where he managed to escape. He later joined the Secretariat of the United Nations Commission on Human Rights, where he worked with John P. Humphrey, the eminent Canadian jurist recognized as one of the fathers of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It was Humphrey who drafted the very first version, a historic contribution that has had a lasting impact on the development of human rights worldwide. Why, you may ask, are we talking about Stefan Hessel today? Because on the eve of his 93rd birthday, he published a short manifesto entitled Time for Outrage. This text, which I recommend to you, has been translated into 34 languages and has sold over 4 million copies. Its message is simple and powerful. Outrage is a healthy and necessary reaction to the injustices of the world. It is a bulwark against indifference, a call to citizen action, a moral compass in a disoriented world. Today, colleagues, I am outraged. I am outraged by the war crimes committed in Gaza by the Israeli state. And I mention the Israeli state and not by Jewish people. It's an important distinction to make. Just as I am outraged by those perpetrated by Hamas on October 7th, 2023. I am outraged that basic humanitarian needs are being deliberately denied to a civilian population and that starvation is being used as a weapon of war. I am outraged by our timid reactions as Canadian parliamentarians to this tragedy unfolding before our eyes. And I am outraged that we regularly have to welcome here in Parliament, as Canadian parliamentarians, regularly have to welcome desperate NGOs working in Gaza. The most recent, Oxfam, made us all cry. And I'm outraged because we have no response to give them to their distress, other than silence or empty words.
Canada has a voice that matters. It embodies an ideal for countless men and women who have faced persecution. It has welcomed oppressed people from all corners of the world. It has opened, adopted a constitution and a charter of rights and freedom that rank among the most ambitious in the world. This position, this moral standing, comes with a responsibility to defend human rights with courage, without distinction, without calculation, without doubt, double standards. Alors, je vous pose la question, chers collègues.
So I ask, colleagues, where is Canada's voice? Our silence is not only incomprehensible, it is deafening. Worse still, the Commission of Inquiry of the United Nations Human Rights Council recently stated that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. Faced with such a statement, Canada could one day be called to account for its passivity or even complicity. I am neither a lawyer nor an expert, but the words of former Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant still resonate with me. In October 2023, he declared, and I quote, "We are imposing a total siege on Gaza. No electricity, no food, no water, no fuel. Everything is closed. We are fighting human animals. We are fighting human animals and we are acting accordingly." End quote.
Over the decades, our country has helped shape some of the most advanced legal instruments in the field of human rights. But what are these texts worth if no one stands up to defend them? If we remain silent, who will give them life? Without commitment, they are nothing more than ink on paper. Dans plusieurs pays émergents, on observe.
In several emerging countries, we are observing with bitterness what seems to be a two-speed empathy or two-level empathy on the part of Western leaders. The West was quick to sanction Russia for the crimes committed in Ukraine. What about the equally documented crimes committed in Gaza? Why this blatant double standard? Stéphane Hessel visited Palestine 5 times between 2002 and 2009. He was already concerned about the consequences of Operation Cast Lead. Following his quotes, he wrote, and I quote, "Make no mistake, I stand in solidarity with the Jews of Israel and those of the diaspora, because I know what it is to be Jewish. I myself am of Jewish origin through my father, and I have unequivocally supported the idea that the Jews deserved a state after what they have suffered. I shouted with joy when Israel was created." And he added firmly, "Israel is not above international law." End quote. What would he say today? His outrage would, I have no doubt, be total. Colleagues, at a time when we seem paralyzed by a strange sense of impotence and when basic rights are being trampled underfoot, Canada has a duty to act. Canada's voice is strong and is being heard. The world listens carefully when our country defends its founding values, because they are an intrinsic part of who we are. At a time when a dark veil is gradually being cast over humanist ideals, Canada must take pride in these values and speak out loud and clear. Nothing is lost if we act. At a time when humanist ideals are under threat, when the rule of law too often gives way to the law of the strongest, Canada must remain true to itself. All is not lost if we choose to act, dear colleagues. Honorable Senators, in the face of the 1.9 million displaced people in Gaza, be outraged. In the face of the 250 journalists killed in Gaza, be outraged. At the 400 aid workers killed in Gaza, be outraged. At the 65,000 civilian victims in Gaza, be outraged. At the use of famine as a weapon of war, be outraged in face of the 1,200 Israeli victims on October 7th and the 251 hostages taken by Hamas, show your outrage. In the face of those who oppose the right of Palestinians and Israelis to live in peace, show your outrage. In face of indifference, fatalism, and impotence, show your outrage, because history is watching us and will judge us. Be outraged. Thank you.